What if one of the most comforting hymns ever written was born from deep pain and loss? What a Friend We Have in Jesus is not just a church song. It is the story of a broken man who lost almost everything, yet discovered that God was still near. In the spring of 1844, Ireland was bright and beautiful. The hills were green, and the skies were clear. A young man named Joseph Scriven was preparing for the happiest day of his life. He had finished university, returned home near Dublin, and was about to marry the woman he loved. But the day before the wedding, something terrible happened. His fiancée was riding her horse along the river to meet him. The horse was suddenly frightened. She was thrown into the fast-moving water. By the time Joseph reached the river, she had drowned. He later said it felt like the ground beneath him had disappeared. Every road and field in Ireland reminded him of the life he had planned and the joy that was now gone. His heart was broken, so he decided to leave. In 1845, he moved to Canada and settled near Port Hope in Ontario. Instead of becoming angry or bitter, Joseph chose to serve others. He walked from home to home cutting wood for widows. He helped the sick and the poor. People said he never refused anyone who truly needed help. He had one rule: he would only help those who could not pay him. He wanted to serve freely, just as Christ had served him. Soon the people of Port Hope began calling him the Good Samaritan. Years later, Joseph opened his heart again. He fell in love with a young woman named Eliza. They planned to marry in the spring of 1854. But only weeks before the wedding, she became very sick with pneumonia. Joseph cared for her day and night. He prayed and hoped she would recover. But she died at the age of 23. For the second time, the woman he loved was taken from him before marriage. Once again, he was crushed by sorrow. But again, he turned to God, not as a distant ruler, but as a close and caring friend. In 1855, Joseph wrote a poem in a letter to his mother in Ireland. He wanted to comfort her and share the peace he had found. He wrote simple words: "What a friend we have in Jesus. All our sins and griefs to bear. What a privilege to carry everything to God in prayer." These words came from a man who understood pain and loneliness. He had suffered deeply, yet he had learned that he did not have to carry his burdens alone. He believed many people live with heavy hearts because they forget to bring their troubles to God. Oh, what peace we often forfeit. Oh, what needless pain we bear. All because we do not carry everything to God in prayer. Joseph did not plan for the poem to become famous. It was first published without his name. Almost 10 years later, he quietly shared that he had written it, saying that he and the Lord had written it together. He continued living a simple life in Port Hope for nearly 40 years, helping people, showing kindness, and trusting God. Today, more than 100 years later, What a Friend We Have in Jesus is sung around the world in churches, hospitals, funerals, and homes. It began with one broken man who chose faith instead of bitterness. Joseph Scriven lost 2 women he loved, but he found something lasting, a deep friendship with Jesus that carried him through sorrow. That is why the hymn still touches hearts today. No matter what we lose, no matter how heavy our pain feels, we have a friend who listens, a friend who carries our burdens, and a friend who never leaves us. And that friend is Jesus.